Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome in. Another little build video for you guys here. This is a one bar tank, Immortal Tank Build. Um, what I've been using for the last few months or whatever. I just hadn't put it out. I've also been trying to figure out a DPS side with the same gear and stuff like that, and I kind of found one what could work. Um, so yeah. Figured I'll share it and cover it. But let's go ahead and jump in. So obviously with this one, we got two-piece Baron. This is a phenomenal set. Okay, so it's gonna give us max stam, max mag, and max health, which is super nice for a one-piece trait. But we're taking it for the two-piece, where it says applying a status effect to an enemy grants you a stack of Zorderus Ambition for 10 seconds, up to 3 stacks max. When you gain 3 stacks, the stacks are removed and you gain 4 ultimate. Okay? So that is super strong. Okay, this build is based around ultimate gain and just popping Magma Shell and just being as tanky as possible, really. Our next set, Elfbane. This is our bread and butter for this build. It increases my Magma Shell and takes my Magma Shell from 12 seconds to 17 seconds, which is super nice and super handy. Okay, real nice. Can you class this as a set? Technically, yes, because it's still a one item set piece. So therefore, we are taking the one piece trainee for that additional health. Our next set is Potentates. Note with Potentates, you're not going to get the second two-piece item set line, as that says reduces your damage taken from players by 3%. You're not going to get that because you're in PvE and you're not in PvP. So that line is obsolete, but we're not using it for that. We're using it for the three-piece. So the three-piece reduces the cost of our ultimates by 15%. So that is bringing my Magma Shell down from 204 to 173. And just to prove that, I will get rid of one piece of my potentates and show you the cost. As you can see, 204. We put the potentate ring back on, and it goes down to 173. So super nice, super handy, super great. Obviously, the Oaken Soul is part of our build, as I want it to be one bar. In terms of my weight ratio, we are 3 medium, 4 heavy. In terms of my attributes, I have 20 mag, 41 health. We are taking the Lover Mundus. The reason why I take the Lover is just for that 5k penetration. It's just a solid extra bit of damage, as we're a tank and we're not really trying to do too much damage. That being said, taking the Mundus of the penetration, and then if I get, say, like focus efforts, or if I get ferocious strikes, if I get any type of scorching support or anything like that, we're gonna do additional damage. Okay, so super nice, super handy. In terms of my blue tree, we got fight and finesse. This is just critical damage, critical healing by 8%. This just helps me with my overall damage, and it also helps me overall with my healing. Deadly aim. I take this because one of my skills on my bar, which is my fourth ability here, which is Exhilarate and Drain, is a single target damage. So it will scale for that. And also my heavy attacks from the Ice Staff will be scaled from Deadly Aim. The Hermitage, that just increases my overall DOT damage from my Magma Shell and from my Poison Enchant. That's just super handy to have. And then we take Master at Arms for the flat 6% damage done. In terms of my red tree, this plays into our traits on our jury, which I will cover in a minute. So let's go ahead and do traits on the gear now. So with the traits with the gear, As you can see, we are divines across the board, and we're tri-stat across the board. Okay. But when we get to the jury, we're 3-piece infused. And then I take the alchemy amplification enchantment. So what that's doing is it's taking my alchemy enchantment up to 11 point something seconds more, right? Just as it is on my jury. That being said, this now plays into this as well. And we're getting a furthermore 15% increased duration, okay? Which is taking us up to, say, 26, about 26 seconds or something like that, I think it is. Um, on our potions is super nice. Peace of mind also does play into this because we're giving ourselves crowd control immunity. We're also gaining that health and magical recovery by 200, which is super nice and super handy. As you can see, like I said before, with the calculating blood here, this takes us to 697. Plus with this 200, that will take us to 897. So we're at about 900 health recovery as a stage 3 vampire, which is kind of barbaric when you think about it. Obviously, boundless vitality. This is just increasing my health by 1400, takes my health up to 37, which is more than enough as a tank, you know. And then survival instincts for that 25% flat reduced cost. Super nice, super handy. Green tree doesn't really matter too much, but I do take treasure hunter for the chest finds, and then I take rationer for the food buff duration. Peace blessing whenever I'm not in combat, and then I take homemaker. In archive, homemaker will work very well. There's a ton of urns what you can go and loot, and you will have that second 10% chance of finding that second furnishing. And also, if you're doing the side portals, that is a mission where you hand in your side journals to the lady, and in her room there's a load of cabinets and desks what you can go and loot, and that will also play into that. So super nice, super handy. In terms of my skills, because we're a tank, we need a taunt. So I take Inner Rage. The reason why I take Inner Rage, one, is cheap in cost. Two, I'm using an ice staff, so therefore I need to be able to taunt with Magicka. So I take Inner Rage over the Destruction Staff taunt. And the reason why I do that is because it's flame damage and I'm a DK and we get additional buffs to flame damage anyway. So therefore, I figured we'll just play into the flame damage. That also being said, if I'm in a duo and we're running this running with my partner in an archive, if they synergize, they're gonna do that additional flame damage to the enemies, and they're also going to restore 4% of their max health, stamina, and magical while doing so. Okay, so super nice, super handy, super great, real fucking nice to help the team. Like it's helping the team as much as doing what it needs to do, which is taunting the bosses, marauders, whatever, right? So like, yeah, real nice, real handy. Hardened armor. This is our buff to keep our resistances up. We're also gaining an 11.8k damage shield for 6 seconds, scaling off of my max health. And then obviously, while active, the armor returns 536 flame damage to any enemy that uses a direct damage against me within a melee range, scaling off my physical and spell resistance. So super, super nice. As you can see, my spell resistances don't really move. They stay at 2197, which is kind of bizarre, but it's because we got the Oakensol. So our Oakensol has already given us what we're getting from this, okay, in terms of the armor, which is the major resolve. Yeah, major resolve. So realistically, I use this just for the shield. Technically, you could get rid of this, okay, and you could run Fiery Burst, okay, And what Fiery Burst will do is Fiery Burst will add flame damage, damage over time, and then a minor breach. Okay, so you can swap it out for that. I would say for the harder arcs, I would say just stick to what I had, which is the hardened armor from the Draconic skill line. Go from there. That also being said, calculating blood. This is our oh no, we need to heal. Big heal button. So if I'm really low on health, I can hit this. Obviously, with fighting finesse passive, it could become a critical heal, which would then in turn heal us more. You know, obviously, also with this skill, it is gonna buff our health recovery up to 697, as I stated just a minute ago. And then obviously we're gonna get that extra 200 from our red tree here. So that is super good, super nice, super handy. Obviously, our next skill, Accelerate and Drain. This is a phenomenal skill. So obviously, it does magic-based damage in a channel time effect. We're only really using it potentially for the ultimate every 1 second because we're getting 5 ultimate every 1 second. That means that it's going to give us 15 ultimate, right? And then obviously with our Baron Zordorus mask, we're taking that 15 ultimate to 19 ultimate. Okay, so it's really strong. That also being said, it also says healing you for 25% of your missing health. So if we're missing health, we're gonna get additional heals back from this up to 25% of our missing health. So that's super nice too. Also note with this skill, so when you have a restoration staff or a lightning staff and you do your heavy channeled attacks, it creates a siphoning attack on the enemy's health. Okay. This will do the same thing as it's a channeled ability. It creates that siphoning pressure on the enemy's health. Okay. So it's really nice, super handy, super great to use. Fantastic for our build as we're wanting to pop as many magma shells as possibly humanely we can, you know, as that is our bread and butter damage. Our next big burst amount of damage, what comes from, and this also does heal us very well, is Draw Essence. Draw Essence will give us, so whenever we attack enemies, we deal flame damage and we heal up to 165% of the damage caused. After 2.5 seconds, that drawback, what we've drawn in, then returns back to the enemies. And it does even more flame damage to nearby enemies. And it also restores 10% of our ability's cost for each enemy hit as magic. Okay? So we're going to get majority of our magicka back from using this ability, which is absolutely phenomenal. And I think that's pretty much the whole entire build. We are using the lever, like I say, just to keep that 5k pen. What that 5k pen's going to do for us is it's just going to increase our damage of Accelerate and Drain and Draw Essence and Magma Shell. It's just overall penetration, which, because we're a tank, we lack it in that field, where if we get that additional little bit of penetration, it's going to make our damage just a little bit better. Note with the food, what I use Jewels of Mithril. We are a stage 3 vampire. You can use stage 1, but just note with this build, you kind of want to be stage 3 or 4. I go with stage 3, at least then we get that additional little bit of health recovery. I just think it's overall a little bit better. And the reason why I say you got to be careful is because Accelerate and Drain does scale from being a vampire. So obviously you want to be a certain level of vampire, else you're not gonna get that that additional passives and extra damage and whatnot from being the stage 1. Being a stage 1, this probably won't do a lot. Being a stage 3, I mean, we're doing 2600 damage, so it's not a bad chunk of damage considering we're a tank. That also being noted, we are using Essence of Mobilities. So Essence of Mobilities is giving us our immunities, and they're also giving us Major Savagery, which gives us 2,629 weapon critical rating for 1.1 minutes. So our immunities go up to 31.7 seconds. So we got 31.7 seconds worth of knockback, disable, and affect immunity. That also being in hand, obviously, is going to get increased by our red tree, by a further 15%, so that's going to go up to about 40%, 40 seconds, something like that. So that's super nice and super handy too. Yeah, that's pretty much the tank side. I do have a DPS side, and I'm going to just show you what I do. So if I'm going in solo, and obviously I'm going to want a little bit more damage because we're solo, right? So what I came up with was this. So we want Pestilence Trample. I want Elemental Blockade. And then I take Calculating Blood. So Calculating Blood is a flex. Technically, you don't really need it. I wasn't actually using that yesterday. I tried a number of things. So you could run this, which is Fire Burst, minor. So like realistically, you wouldn't need that. So I ended up dropping this because it was giving me minor, and I can get minor from this, and this also gives me damage absorption, right? So I then came up with this, which is Major Brutality and Major Sorcery, and extra flame damage. But then I was thinking to myself, wait, this is only single target. So I got rid of that too. And then I ended up going with Noxious. And this is the build that I came up with. It was Noxious Breath. So we don't have a very potent heal with this build. We're kind of relying on getting our roll up to heal ourselves and draw essence to heal ourselves. That also being said, realistically, you could get rid of this, supplement some of your damage, and like I say, run Coagulating Blood, or you could run Resolve and Vigor. That is entirely up to you. I would probably just say go Calg, because at least then you can get them big burst heals. But in terms of the damage, with the Pestilence Trample, obviously I take disease damage with lingering disease damage, and then I have minor vulnerability, which means that enemies take 5% more damage. Obviously, Blockade of Frost, this is doing two things for us. One, applying minor breach. Two, gives us a slight damage absorption shield to protect us from projectiles. Plus, it's doing a little bit of DOT over time, and it's adding the Frost stats effect. So we're now adding 1, 2, poison, 4, and then 5 status effects with the flame damage. We're doing 5 different status effects, with this one build. Obviously, Calculating Blood, oh shit, heal. Like I say, you could run Vigor, as stages progress through. I don't think there's really any other option what you could do, really. If you wanted to be more damage and you were happy with just running this one thing as a heal, I would say just run either Noxious Breath, or you could take Caltrops for the Major Breach, or like I say, you could take Fiery Salt for that version as well. But just note that Fiery Salt is single target, where Noxious and Razor Caltrops are both AoE. And that's pretty much what I did yesterday. This is the build what I did run yesterday. That did get me a scoreboard with the Dragonknight. It wasn't a very high scoreboard, may you add, and the reason why is because of the healing efficiency of it. I honestly would just say get rid of this, and then I would honestly say just run, um, calculating blood or vigor there instead. At least then you got them additional heals if you need them. I would actually probably say run vigor, just because it's healing over time, and it would just be better ticks because it's healing over time. That's just my personal preference and my personal opinion. Um, but yeah, go and try it out for yourself. Let me know down in below if you're trying the DPS Z kind of solo version, or if you're going for the group orientated version, which is um the other side, which is this one up here. Yeah. But yeah, let me know. Let me know. I appreciate you all and have a good one. Take care.